The biggest enterprise story this week is an authentication bypass in Palo Alto Networks PAN-OS, the software that runs their firewalls, and it is now being used to break into corporate networks through the GlobalProtect VPN. Palo Alto Networks is one of the world's largest cybersecurity vendors, and its firewalls sit at the edge of corporate and government networks around the world. When Palo Alto disclosed this on May 13th, it was characterized as medium severity, partly because it only affects firewalls set up in a specific way. Rapid7 pushed back at the time, arguing that authentication bypass on an internet-facing VPN should be treated as critical. Their point was that a VPN is not just another login page. If the bypass works, the attacker can be treated like a remote employee and start reaching internal systems that were never meant to be exposed to the internet. The exploitation Rapid7 went on to document is exactly why they pushed back, and Palo Alto has since raised the urgency on its own advisory to the highest level. The flaw is in an optional GlobalProtect feature that hands users a session cookie so they don't have to log in every time. On affected firewalls, an attacker can forge one of those cookies and present it as a valid login. The catch that makes it work is a certificate misconfiguration. When the firewall uses the same certificate for its public HTTPS service and for authentication override cookies, an attacker can pull the public key from the firewall's own public connection, then forge an encrypted cookie the firewall will decrypt and trust. That means an attacker doesn't need credentials or phishing, only a forged token and a VPN that's reachable from the internet. Rapid7 confirmed active exploitation across multiple customers, with the earliest attacks dating to May 17th. They saw one cluster around May 18th, and a second wave on May 21st, and they believe both came from the same actor. In most cases, the attackers were testing the bypass with forged cookies. But in the second wave, some victims saw the attacker go further, getting an actual VPN address assigned and gaining a foothold inside the network. A working proof of concept is now public, which means the barrier to entry just dropped. CISA added this to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog with a federal patch deadline of June 1st. If you run Palo Alto Firewall with GlobalProtect exposed to the internet, patch now. If you can't patch immediately, Palo Alto says to either turn off authentication override or use a dedicated certificate for that feature.